All right, well, thank you for coming. And I appreciate your patience today with understanding that we were very busy and didn't have time to do any type of media release throughout the day. So, as in the past, I have a prepared statement. I'll go through that, and then I will take just a few brief questions. I will say this, however, I'm going to stick very, very closely to my script here. There's probably lots of questions that you have that I'm not going to answer. It's very early on in this investigation, and I'm not here to provide specific details, and I'm not prepared to provide specific details. So, with that, I'll give you my prepared statement. On April 11, 2013, officers from the Red Bluff Police Department responded to a report of a suspicious male on an upstairs balcony. As previously released, this case resulted in an officer-involved shooting in which the suspicious male was shot and killed. This incident is currently being investigated by the investigators from the Tama County District Attorney's Office with assistance from detectives from the Tama County Sheriff's Department. The responding officers were confronted with a white male adult who was in an agitated state. During this incident, officers had at their disposal intermediate defensive weapons such as batons and OC spray. Officers determined that the suspect in this case was a parolee at large with a no-bail arrest warrant. The suspect resisted the officer's attempts to take him into custody, and one officer fired less than lethal munitions, commonly referred to as beanbag rounds, in an attempt to gain control of the suspect. This effort was unsuccessful. The suspect was in possession of a knife, and during this incident moved aggressively towards two officers. The officers on scene shot the suspect when he advanced on them with the knife. Medical assistance was requested immediately, and the officer on scene began to render aid immediately following the shooting. The Tama County District Attorney's Office has assumed responsibility for the primary investigation of this officer-involved shooting. It is anticipated that the District Attorney will be able to respond with a statement regarding this case in the next week or two. Identification of the decedent is pending notification of the next of kin by the Tama County Coroner's Office. There were 5 Red Bluff police personnel involved in this incident. 3 were sergeants, 1 was a detective, 1 was a police officer. Names are being withheld pending the conclusion of the investigation being conducted by the Tama County District Attorney's Office Bureau of Investigation. 3 officers who discharged weapons have been placed on paid administrative leave, which is standard protocol during an officer-involved shooting. So with that, I will take a few very brief questions, and if I can answer them, I will. If you're going to ask specific details about the event, the answer to that question is probably I won't be able to provide that information. So, how can I help?
I was wondering, did all of this take place on the balcony? I know that that's where he was, but were the officers up there as well? Were they down below?
The shooting occurred on the balcony. I saw that you were out at the scene, so you obviously know where that's at, and that is where that shooting took place. Anything else?
Could you tell us what he was doing that was suspicious?
For the initial call, I think.
Yeah.
The report received by dispatch, the suspicious behavior of this subject is that he was on the balcony, and based on my review of the dispatch tapes, he shouldn't have been on that balcony, and I believe that's why we were called.
So does he not live at that apartment?
At this point, I actually don't have any idea what the decedent's address is.
Okay, so you're saying he didn't go on the balcony?
And that, based on the call and the radio traffic that I reviewed, I believe he was not supposed to be there, which is the reason for the call.
Do you have any comment? At least as far as we go at CARES here, I've had a lot of concerned people in general, not just myself, about the rising crime, a lot of things that have been going on. And do you have any comment on that right now, or any ways you guys are kind of...
In relation to this specific incident, or in general?
Generally speaking.
Well, first I'd like to say that in general, I believe Red Bluff is a very safe place to live. But I don't think we can hide from the fact that the crime rate in Red Bluff has seen a spike. And my department is responding appropriately and adequately, and we are working very diligently to work cases, handle cases, and I, as an administrator, am working very diligently to increase our staff to better handle those cases. Does that help answer that question?
Definitely, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us what the suspect did that prompted it, more specifically, what the suspect did that prompted the officers to fire?
No, but I will provide you this fact. Understand this, that at this level of investigation, that number one, most importantly, the investigation itself is being conducted by the Tama County District Attorney's Office, Bureau of Investigations. I have not had an opportunity to interview any witnesses, read any reports, or anything like that. So other than brief information that I received when I responded to the scene, I don't know a lot of those answers, and it would be inappropriate for me to comment anyway. So many of those facts will come out as this investigation progresses.
Okay.
Anything else?
Say the parolee at large, do you know what he was wanted for?
Well, you help me out on this if I say misstate this, but parolee at large is just generally a person on parole who has in some way, shape, or form failed their conditions of their parole, and the parole agent has, for whatever that reason is, issued a warrant for his arrest because of that failure. What specifically that is, I don't know at this point, and normally when we make those kind of arrests, we don't really investigate it. We just take that person. In essence, we're doing a booking for another agency, that being the State of California Department of Parole. Does that make sense? Anything else?
You know how he got up on the balcony?
I have no idea at this point. Is that it?
Have you guys had any recent contact with him?
As far as investigative things like that, I'm not going to comment. What I will say is this, is that as this investigation progresses, I will provide additional information similar to what I did in the recent homicide case as I can. And right now, I'm only doing this press conference to satisfy your need to have some sort of information as to what transpired. And the key thing that I want you to focus on is that we had available to us several different forms of less than lethal use of force that we exhausted, and ultimately the suspect's actions dictated the use of lethal force.